Hello and welcome. This is NTA Tuesday Live and I'm Cyril Stober. Now Hajj, one of the five pillars of Islam, is a religious obligation for every adult Muslim, male or female, that has the means to do so at least once in a lifetime. A total of 76,000 Nigerian pilgrims are expected to perform this spiritual exercise this year. Of that number, 65,000 are regular, while the remaining 10,000 are international pilgrims. Analysts say the National Hajj Commission, the supervisory body for the exercise, has for nearly a decade sustained smooth Hajj operations and received commendations from the Saudi Arabian authorities. For this year's exercise, the Commission has gone a step further by bringing in some innovations like the DNA test, priority for first-timers, and e-wristband for the safety of pilgrims. Now, how unique are these innovations? And how law-abiding are the pilgrims, especially with prohibitions of items like cola nuts and narcotics? Now, how suitable are issues of feeding and transportation of the pilgrims to the holy sites at the commencement of Hajj? Will all the pilgrims be airlifted before the closure of the Saudi Arabian airspace on the 4th of September? These are some of the issues we'll be raising tonight. But first, let's get to see this report by Ahmad Ambali.
The business of Hajj management is one closely tied to the satisfaction of the pilgrim. The success or otherwise of any Hajj operation begins and ends with him. In Nigeria, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria sets up guidelines for the operations of Hajj and Umrah in the country. However, it's a difficult assignment, one which depends on how all elements in the mix relate. From the state boards to the National Commission, down to the airline operators and other support service providers, precision, dedication and focus are key to successful Hajj operations.
Before now, we call about 3 different meetings of all the security agencies in the airport and we strategize.
This year, the task ahead is no different. The year before had thrown up a number of challenges. Still fresh in mind, the stampede at Mina, where many Nigerian pilgrims lost their lives, forms the basis for calls for effective control and management strategies. As a first step, electronic bracelets are to be provided for pilgrims for easy identification. Pertinent also is the issue of adherence to timelines. Whether it be registration of and payment by pilgrims, screening of airlines to commencement of flight operations, everything needs to be in check. As an indicator that the present management of Nakan means business, flights commenced as scheduled with Zamfara pilgrims at the Sokoto airport on 8 August. As at the last count, over 21,000 pilgrims had been airlifted in more than 50 flights, and the Commission is confident of meeting the September 4th deadline by Saudi authorities. While all these arrangements are on course, a particular area of focus is how the pilgrim adheres to rules laid down, especially those regarding banned items. Kola nut tops the list.
Kola nut is considered contraband item by the Saudi authority, no matter how small or inconsequential the quantity might be.
Contrary to news making rounds that a death penalty will be imposed on anyone found with kola nuts, rather a fine of 4,000 to 5,000 Saudi riyals is to be paid by the culprit. Awareness therefore needs to be increased as more pilgrims leave for the Holy Land. Overall, NACAM believes with the cooperation of partners in the media and other stakeholders, this year's exercise will be a benchmark in the history of Hajj operations.
Well, that report sets the tone for tonight's discussion. Let's start by introducing our guest to you tonight. We'd like to welcome to this program Honorable Abdullahi Balarabe Salami, who is Chairman, House Committee on Nigeria-Saudi Arabia Parliamentary Friendship and Hajj Affairs. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Right. We're also joined tonight by Malam Yusuf Adebayo Ibrahim, Commissioner, Policy, Personnel Management and Finance, NACON, that's the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. We thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers.
Let me also welcome to this program Dr. Ibrahim Kana, who's head of the medical team. Doctor, thanks for being here. And we have also here with us tonight Ustaz Abubakar Siddiq, representing Association of Hajj and Umrah Operators of Nigeria, Ustaz, it's nice to have you join us.
Thank you, sir.
And joining us from our Lagos Network Center is Alhaji Munir Bankole, Chairman Medview Airline, Representative Hajj Air Carriers. He joins us from our Lagos Center. Thanks for being with us.
Viewers.
All right, and as we always do every Tuesday, we acquaint you with the procedure. At the appropriate time, you can get to be part of the discussions in the studio. The various platforms will be on your screens. We advise you to take advantage of them. But for those who will be calling in, we say this every Tuesday. If you do get through on the lines, do us a favor, turn down the volume of your TV set so we can avoid the hurlback or the echo. Once you see your name on screen, it means that your call has been taken. It means you're on, and we encourage you to go straight to the point and not bother too much about the greetings. Just go straight to the point, be brief, so other people can get on the platform and make their contributions. And we do assure you that whatever issues you raise, our guests will be only too willing to address them. So once again, welcome to NTA Tuesday Live. We're looking at the Hajj operations for this year. Let's start from the very beginning and find out just where we are now since the flag off of the 2016 Hajj airlift in Sokoto with Zamfara State pilgrims. So where are we at this point in time, Honorable?
Thank you very much, Viren. This year's Hajj, as you said, was flagged off in Sokoto, and there was pilgrims from Zamfara. And since the flag off of the airlift of the pilgrims from Sokoto, up to today, things are going smoothly. We, being chairman of the committee in charge of oversight and Hajj Commission and the Hajj affairs, we have sent our members to various centers to observe and see how things are going. And so far, so good. The report we received from our members that are oversighting, observing the way the NACON is conducting the airlift of our pilgrims. So far, so good. Things are going smoothly with no much challenges.
All right, thank you very much. Let's come to Malam Yusuf Adiba Ibrahim, who's a commissioner in NACON. From the perspective of NACON, within this period that you flagged off the exercise, how has it gone?
Thank you, Vias, and thank you, Christopher. You see that virtually, as the Honorable have said, we commenced the flight as planned. And I want to tell you, as of today, we have moving 23,480 passengers to Saudi Arabia. And this year, we make sure that every flight landed in Medina, so that there won't be rigor of traveling from Jeddah to Medina. And I want to tell you, before the first flight, staff of national commissions are on ground to receive these intending pilgrims. We have been in Saudi Arabia a week to our first departure. So because we plan well, as I said earlier, I want to make sure this year Hajj is a benchmark to make sure that no pilgrims stay more than 3 hours at the airport before departures. There won't be delay. As soon as they arrive in the kingdom, the national reception team will receive them, process them into the bus, and go to their accommodations in Medina. So far so good. We are having progress in the operation.
All right, no hitches so far, but let's find out from Dr. Kana. How has it been?
Well, likewise, I will also say so far so good. And the issue is that this year we actually had no option than introduce some innovations, you know, and learning from our experiences in the recent past, particularly the issue of DNA identification. This is one innovation that we have introduced. But before that, I want to say that our medical team are already in Saudi Arabia, even before the arrival of Nigerian pilgrims. And we have formed the national medical team this year, joining forces between the state governments and the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. You know, and right now also we equally have a large number of medical team that are ready to actually depart for Saudi Arabia in order to provide medical services for our team pilgrims.
No worries about any outbreaks, any scares of any
This year, we thank God there isn't any anticipation of outbreak of any disease like we had in the previous years,
Right.
except for heat stroke, because
Right.
temperatures are over 40, 42, 43 degrees centigrade in Saudi Arabia. So that's the only issue that we're really worried about.
Okay, that's something to worry about, but we'll return to it. Just find out how prepared the pilgrims will be for such extreme temperatures. But we'll come back to you. Let's hear from Ustaz Abu Bakr Siddiq.
On the tour operators side, most of us are now in Saudi Arabia. Some of us will go tomorrow to conclude arrangement, because normally we don't go early. We go late and we come back early. So as far as the arrangement is concerned, with the coordinating body, NACON, it has been very nice, and we have seen the commitment, we have seen the dedication, and as from the sentiments expressed now from the Honorable Commissioner and the Commissioner also, and the Doctor, this year is going to be like no other year. I'm sure as the discussion goes, we will hear more about the arrangements and what has been done, but really, NACON and its staff should be proud of what they are doing now.
Yeah, but from the operators, what are you doing differently this time around?
This time around, we are upgrading everything.
Okay.
And of course, we have passed through a lot. But as far as this year is concerned, in spite of any other thing, we are trying to give the best as we have been doing, because the story has been long. But every year you see improvement. And NACON, with all the inspectors going around and making sure that people get value for money, what is the type of accommodation you provide in Umrah and in Hajj, your transport, your accommodation, your feeding, your transport, everything is looked after and is monitored closely. And sanctions are meted out to people who are not serious or who are not willing to change.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, we'll return to those issues later on. Let's go over to our Lagos studio now, where Alhaji Munir Bankole, who is chairman of Medview Airline and representing the air carriers, is. Tell us a bit about what the air carriers are doing this time around.
We give thanks to God. Today we have airlifted over 23,000, and we are putting on ground almost a total of 10 aircraft, wide body, and we are operating from different parts of the country. And with God's on our side, I think everything so far will say, so, it's a compliment to this country that some of us who are indigenous carrier are meeting the challenges on ground, and we are doing very well.
We hear this year you have just 3 airlines, okay, as against, was it 6 the last time around? What was responsible for this, and do you think 3 would be adequate?
That the Saudi authority insisted that they will have 3 airlines to airlift the number of pilgrims allocated to Nigerian as a country. And the number, as you know, has a reduction of 20%, so we have a total of about 65. So far with the number of aircraft we are using at the moment, I think we are up to the task.
Okay, we'll just like to remain with you a moment longer, and that's to tell us how many departure zones are we looking at here now?
From the southern part of the country, we operated from Ilorin, from Lagos zones, and we are equally operating from Kaduna, from Maiduguri, which is the Borno. We're operating from Sokoto, taking care of Kebbi, and at the same time, we're operating from Mina. So putting all the Yola in Adamawa, and you should equally expect us to leave pilgrim from Port Harcourt, Enugu. So this has given a lot of relief to all our people all over the country. As you used to be in the past, we have extended the airlift to almost about 10 to 11 airports in this country. development.
All right, thank you very much. We'll return to you in a moment, but let's come back to the Honorable Abdullahi Balarabi Salami. You chair a committee, and we would just like to find out just the input of this committee into the arrangements for this year's Hajj.
Thank you very much. Though this committee was formed not long ago, we were created about 4 months ago, while the preparation has already gone far by the NACON. But immediately we are created, we sink into action, we keep on working hand in hand with NACON. And from the time this committee was created, we continue working with the NACON. So far, NACON is carrying this committee along in all its activities. So we participate in almost all the activities, and we are, as you know, the work of the committee is to oversight, to look after the activities of the Hajj Commission. And we were working with them, observing what they are doing, sending our people to various centers to see how the preparation and how they are implementing what they prepared. So far, our members are as I told you earlier, are at various centers in the various airport or points of airlifting our pilgrims in the country, and we have been receiving report from them that yes, NACON is implementing most of the arrangements. And we also heard from people from Saudi Arabia that things are going smoothly. You know, our one is to observe if anybody that is a stakeholder in Hajj operation, we must make sure that he did what he promised accordingly to see that Hajj operation become easy and a successful one. So that's what that's our input. So as a result of that, we from time to time we used to meet NACON officials, check what they are doing, and we also check all the stakeholders, even the airlines. We call them, we meet with them, we remind them that we are here to make sure that our people do not experience any problem. We want this year's Hajj to be a smooth, successful, and easy one. So that is our input in the Hajj operation of this year.
Even the tour operators were invited?
Even the tour operators, yes, we invite them and we meet with them. We make sure that all we are after is, you know, we are representing people. All we are after to see that our people do not experience any problem, any unnecessary problem. So to make sure that things go easy and the Hajj become a success, especially this year's Hajj to become a successful and a easy one.
Okay, well, for NACON, yes, you introduced a number of innovations this year. One of them, that priority be given to first-timers. Now, give us an insight into what led to this.
Thank you very much. For the past 3 years, there are renovations in the Holy Mosque. So there is reductions in the Hajj seat across the board. So Nigeria normally has 86,000. Now we have 66,000, 76,000. So because of that, the demand is very high. And since with your introduction, you say one of the pillars of Islam, once in your lifetime, if you have the means and you have the money, we now thought it wise that we should allow first-timer to go for Hajj, so that repeaters will wait until they finish the renovations in Saudi Arabia. And that has helped a lot. And because of that, that's why we are trying to educate, because they are new, they are the first time and they've not been to Hajj before. They require a lot of education.
All right, and also we find this introduction of the wrist bands, and we had said we'd come back to you to tell us about it and how this would guarantee safety of our pilgrims. So.
Well, first of all, I think the issue of wristband is something that we as a people and as a country should be proud of. I say this because as a physician and being a Hajj manager myself, in the last few years, we have seen the benefit of identification. Identification here means somebody must have a form of identification on him. And this year, we decided to introduce the wristband, not because of anything, but if nothing, as a result of the stampede that occurred last year. We lost a lot of pilgrims. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them Al-Jannah Firdaus. We had plenty of challenges, not only Nigeria, but the entire pilgrims that people that performed Hajj last year. There were lots and lots of bodies, and there were no forms of identification. Some bodies were mutilated beyond recognition. Some bodies were mutilated beyond even fingerprinting. Some actually lost their limbs. Therefore, there's just no way you could actually make any identification. So as a country moving forward, we came back and said, look, well, how do we really ameliorate this? And that was how the issue of wristband came in. The wristband basically is a device that has a chip in it and equally has a GPS. The entire biometrics of every pilgrim is embedded inside the wristband. So what it means is that, one, your medical biometrics is embedded. Your personal biometrics, that is actually with the Nigerian Immigration Services, is embedded, and equally has a GPS. The GPS is for you in an event where you get missing in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You can actually press and call the call center, and you will see exactly where you are, and you can be rescued.
So every pilgrim has this?
Absolutely, every pilgrim.
Who bears the cost?
Naturally, the pilgrim.
Okay.
Yeah, because Hajj government does not pay nothing for any pilgrim. Right. So it's just, I don't think it's any big deal for any pilgrim to pay. Okay. There's something that is
affordable.
It is affordable because it's for his own safety. And personally, I equally pay for one, as a matter of fact. Oh yes, because it's actually for my own safety. The fact that I'm an official does not mean I'm not prone to disaster. Does not mean I'm not prone to also even getting missing or, God forbid, even dead. So I equally need it, and it's good for me.
All right.
You know, yeah.
And well, the pilgrims, this is simple enough, I assume, that it's simple enough for every pilgrim to handle and operate. In case they get missing, they know exactly what to do. There are explanatory sessions, I suppose, that they've gone through.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's easy to use.
Okay, user-friendly.
User-friendly, seriously.
All right, so let's talk about the comfort of pilgrims, and the tour the operators here would have to come in talking about the pilgrims in both Medina, Makkah. How are the conditions?
By conditions, Cyril, you mean what?
I mean exactly the conditions of talking about their comfort, easy access to all the services that they're supposed to have.
Interesting. This discussion generally about Hajj and the innovations that are brought about by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. I want to take it generally and then maybe specify to the tour operators. But as Hajj it is now, we have got pilgrims from various states in Saudi Arabia, coordinating the information unit, the training before that time, the medical issue, the handband, the movement from one place to another, the reception at Saudi Arabia, the accommodation, and so on. You can see from the issue of the handband that has just been discussed, and the various coordinating points, and the takeoff, and the arrangement, and the airlines, and so on. Go to Medina, because the Honorable Commissioner just mentioned that most of the flights, almost all the flights are now landing in Medina. That's what he has just said. Now, the reports we are getting from the reception at Medina and the kind of accommodation they are now enjoying, it's a pride to all Nigerians. Nigerians should be proud, not only NACON officials, the commissioner, the doctor, at the head of them, the chairman of the commission, but all Nigerians should be proud. And I think, honestly, speaking from experience, in no time, the world will have no option but to learn from Nigeria how to conduct a successful Hajj operation. Because we are doing it the way that it has never been done anywhere. This handband is unique. No other nation has done this. So that accommodation, its proximity to the haram, the feeding arrangement and so on, nobody would, this is Medina. Before now, the pilgrims start moving to Mecca and other things. You get up to the minute details of what flight takes off from what point, how many pilgrims are there, What time are they leaving? What time have they landed in Medina? What else are we looking for? It goes, it's still about leadership. They are giving leadership at the commission, and the chairman is there to coordinate all these and to bring his experience to bear and his psychological acuity into the whole thing. That is what is important. And the National Assembly is there, of course, as an oversight, something to see and to make sure. So we are proud of what the National Assembly is doing, to see that things are being done. We are proud with what the Hajj Commission is doing, because the end user is the pilgrim. Our aim, all of us, both the Hajj Commission, the tour operators, we are trying to serve one person, and that is the pilgrim. Comfort in Hajj means I am close to the place of worship.
Right.
From the picture I've seen today of people who are already in Medina, you can see the proximity of the accommodation. You can see the pillars of the mosque in Medina and the hotel right in front of the place. What else are you looking for? That is important. And the feeding aspect is going on. Somebody complained about the queuing aspect in the feeding arrangement. Well, it's good news, because where you have people, there will be problem. Now, we should devise a means of making sure that food reaches the people who are being served at the right time. But the complaint is not about I'm not being fed, or what I'm being fed with is not good.
Okay.
So these are things we should keep into perspective and encourage the people that are doing it.
All right.
Yes.
And all these are encapsulated in the enlightenment which you as operators carried out.
Yeah, of course. You know, the operation is done. The enlightenment exercise is important. Dr. Kana mentioned the issue of new timers. Also, the commissioner Adeba also mentioned the issue of those people who are the new new entrants into the Hajj exercise. So they need to be educated and be taught how to perform the ritual. So that is very important. It is during that exercise that other information is given on what to expect and what to do. Even behavior. We are ambassadors of our country, so we should exhibit that. Where we are exultant in a good and Islamic way of the arrangement that we are enjoying, we should also exhibit the best of behavior as ambassadors of Nigeria in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, we return to our Lagos center. Alhaji Munir Bankole, can we say no worries about meeting, about airlifting all the pilgrims to get there in time before the deadline of 4th September?
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't think there is any need for us to have this fear or concern of not meeting the deadline. Like I earlier said before, we have a total number of 10 aircraft. These are wide-body aircraft that takes over 400 passengers. And looking at the number of flights we are operating daily, putting the number of days we are planned to do the operation, a total of 25 days. Definitely we're going to get there before the deadline. That's an assurance. And we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue to be of guidance to this exercise.
Yes. Okay. There's just one issue I was going to return to you on just before we went to Lagos, and that's to do with the interaction between the pilgrims and the operators. This is key to this exercise.
Yes, we do that also through what we call the Hajj induction course, where pilgrims will converge at a point with scale models of the Kaaba, of the Station of Abraham, the Black Stone, and so on, to teach them what point to start, what point to stop, and what to expect, what incantations to offer, and at what point. And where you have some issues with the exercise, how do you solve them? Where are they going to stay? It's like a contract. Where are they going to stay? What are the group's movement from one point to another, and what date? Because with the tour operators, timing is important. You have to go at the right time, and you have to return early, because these are top government officials mostly who would want to come back early. And with the way the commission is going, soon there will be less difference between what time you go or what group you follow, either the state or the tour operators, because now we know exactly what group is going, and they are emphasizing that when you go early, you come back early. When you go late, you come back late. There is gone are those days where some official would just come and say, I want to go back today. And the way would be found for them to return at the expense of others.
Those preferential treatment wouldn't be applied.
It's not, no, for long, you know. The former chairman, who is now FCT minister, has started a process, and the current chairman is exhibiting that dedication and commitment that you wonder how where are they getting the energy from and the ideas coming, and the staff are cooperating. It's about leadership. Once the leadership is not good, then you have problem. But where the leadership is there, you see what is happening now. I mean, everybody keys into it, and
this
results.
Is because, for instance, Dr. Kana would not just stand up and say, well, since I'm head of team, this is the data I want to go, and you make amendments. So, or even the commissioner himself, being a commissioner.
That's who they are.
Well, but okay, so far we've been talking about the arrangements for the pilgrims who are going in from here. What about the international pilgrims? What's in place?
You see, the international pilgrims, as the tour operators have said, we as a regulator, we treat every intelligent pilgrim equally.
Right.
As he has told you now, the accommodation they are going to use in Saudi Arabia for this year has been inspected by our team of officers who are inspecting it. They will inspect the houses. You see, each tour operator has categories of accommodation they are going to use. Those that pay for 5-star hotel, we don't expect the same value for 3-star hotel. So it depends on how much you pay. We make sure that everybody, intelligent pilgrims that pay, get the facility the tour operator promised as a Wendy. Right. The same thing we state, as you have said, the accommodations we have in Medina is just a strong throw to the Prophet Mosque. Okay. That one you can't, it's just a strong throw. So the accommodation is superb, and as you are landing at the airport, they serve you a meal. Just take a meal, get on the bus, and take you to the hostel. The first flight from Zamfara and Kogi, they're already in Mecca. After that, they have spent 8 days. The era of queuing is not even there. As you are going, we give you a meal ticket before you enter the bus. The numbers of meals you are going to be served, breakfast and dinner for 8 days will be given to each intending pilgrim. So international tour operators, we monitor the accommodation they use, both in Medina and Mecca. So we make sure that they get value for their money.
You know, once the National Assembly, the legislature is involved, the first thought that will come to many people's minds is, are there legislations which might back up whatever oversight functions and whatever innovations have been introduced in these? Are there?
As you said, you know, our own is to oversight the activities, all the Hajj affairs. And you just asked about the comfort of pilgrims. You know, we have two types of pilgrims. We have those that come from the state. Majority of our pilgrims come from states. And in each state we have state pilgrims welfare boards. And the state pilgrim welfare board is being supervised by the NACON. But so the NACON make sure we go for an oversight, almost all the states. Okay. We come to understand that state has abide by all the guidelines or rules and regulations led by the NACON to ensure that all pilgrims are having all they deserve as far as comfort is concerned. From the beginning, from the payment, all things have been done easy for pilgrims.
Sorry, I think Honorable Doctor, you maybe missed the Establishment Act of NACON.
Okay.
Yes, NACON is
the
child of the National Assembly. Yes, so
it's a child of National Assembly. Yes, it is National Assembly that enact.
You gave us the law.
We give the law. We give the money. And the money. Of course. Yes, we appropriate for them. We give them money. We enact the law for them. And we are here in case if there is anything that requires us to come in and maybe amend certain law for them to be able to conduct their activities smoothly. We are here for that.
Now, talking about the law, really, we do know that the Saudi Arabian government has placed a ban on a number of items. And the first, well, many Nigerians would wonder that cola nut is at the top of that list. And knowing Nigerians and their love for cola nuts, a lot of people will wonder. Well, Ustaz has said that adequate enlightenment has been carried out, but we know how these things are. What's in place to ensure that Nigerians are the good ambassadors that you all believe they will be in performing this year's Hajj, and stay away from those things that are banned, drugs, and keeping to the laws of their host country?
As I told you, on the State Pilgrims Welfare Board, make sure that they enlighten all our pilgrims from the level of local government up to the level of states. So they are all enlightened. Ulama has been deployed from various to local government to make sure to lead and guide pilgrims, to enlighten them and teach them that one should abide by all the rules and regulations governing Hajj operation, being it spiritual or Saudi Arabian government law. So, as I said, you know, our committee is a Nigerian Saudi Arabian parliamentary friendship. So for that, we liaise with them to make sure that all their laws are being abided by the pilgrim.
Okay, just before you come in, Doctor, the lines are already open, and from Birnin Kebbi we have Umar, who's been trying to reach us a while. I suppose this must be Umar Anachi from Birnin Kebbi. Hello. Hello, Umar.
Mr. Silo, I'm Umar Anachi calling from Birnin Kebbi.
Okay.
Right. Good evening, sir. The issue of conveying pilgrims back home after Hajj exercise remain a problem year in, year out. What arrangement was put in place this time around in making sure that pilgrims are conveying back home in good time? May God continue to bless Nigeria.
All right. That's a short one. Okay. So.
I wouldn't know. I don't know what you mean by year in, year out.
Well,
as we have said earlier on, first to go, first to come back.
Yes, I guess it's
with the numbers of flights the carriers has deployed. As soon as the airport is open, we start moving our people back to Nigeria.
Right. I guess what he's referring to is that it's been known in the past that the return leg has always been fraught with a lot of challenges. Just wants to know whether we'll be free of that this time around.
Yeah, we're going to be. I said we're going to be free of that this year, inshallah. With the numbers of machine our carrier has deployed, we don't expect any each. First to come, first to go back to Nigeria.
But let me
yes.
come in here. I think there's one important thing that actually Nigerians really need to appreciate. You know, as we're living from Nigeria to Saudi Arabia, we have, like Alhaji Bankole mentioned, we have several airports in Nigeria. But as we are departing, and different countries also arrive, Saudi Arabia, to Medina, to Mecca, to Jeddah rather. But as we're during the return leg, it's a different situation altogether.
All right.
It's only one airport.
So that's more challenging.
That is a challenge on its own.
Right.
And I think that is one aspect that we really need to appreciate. We have only one airport that all pilgrims, all the over 2, 3, 4 million are struggling to exit from.
Okay, so let's put the question to Alhaji Bankole in Lagos. How do you intend to surmount this challenge?
Thank you very much. I think we need to make more clarification, like Dr. Kana actually mentioned and other members out there. We operate out of Nigeria from almost about 10, 11 airports. And when we get to Saudi Arabia, we make sure that we try as much as possible to give the adequate arrangement for slot to be able to bring Nigerian back. But the Saudi authority, knowing fully well that they make preference at the first 2 days for those who come from the Gulf country and those who come from the local, So they create at least 2-3 days to enable the other nationals to gather themselves together to come. But you can realize that coming out of this airport, like everybody knows very well, there are a lot of challenges. The airport has a few gateways where people have to go to queue for where the processes of checking the passengers to get through the screening, through the GID, through other processes. So we will implore our people in Nigeria, as you already know, that it is very, very good enough for us now that we are moving on the first in, first out. The first that comes in is the first that goes out. So that makes a lot of decency and discipline. So for those of them who have gone into Medina and they have moved from Medina to Mecca, continue the rites of Hajj, they are sure to be the first to come back home. So the track of the journey now has made things very easy for you as a pilgrim to know that as you are arriving, you have a date of your departure. So we definitely commencing departure from the 17-18 early morning, and we hope by the grace of God complete earlier enough to make everybody back home. Okay. So that's an assurance from our team, the carrier on this side.
All right, we have a caller from Lagos, and he's calling in from Mushi. Just go ahead, introduce yourself, and let's hear your question or comment.
Hello?
Hello? Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh dear, I think we lost that call. But yes.
Earlier on we were talking about you brought the issue of cola nut, other drugs,
yes,
and medicaments. I think we have to really utilize this opportunity to also draw the attention of all intending pilgrims who are still in Nigeria and friends and relations alike, that truly the issue of cola nut is a contraband in Saudi Arabia. This year, what they have just done is to try to enforce the law that
okay, so it's always been there.
It has always been there. Right. Ask anybody who has traveled to Saudi Arabia, they will always seize the gold from you in the airport. People smuggle them and they will always collect them. The issue is that this year they're just implementing, rather they're just enforcing the law. But I have to use as a physician, I must also mention the fact that there are some particular drugs that we use commonly in Nigeria. And I give an example, tramadol. A lot of Nigerians take the benzodiazepines quite frequently in Nigeria. You can go to the pharmacy over the counter and get these drugs. By the time you take it into Saudi Arabia and you get caught at the airport, that is an automatic sentence to prison. Now, we are calling on Nigerian pilgrims or intending pilgrims to ensure that they do not carry these drugs that are commonly used in Nigeria. Over there, they are contraband. In fact, if you are caught with tramadol, there is simply no trial. You just go straight to jail. So we have to make this very, very clear.
You produce some kind of a list to show the no-go area.
Yes, we have done that. I mean, in all the states and in all, even the international tour operators, we try to create awareness to pilgrims, and to ensure that they don't carry this category of drugs. However, there have been so many calls, even Honorable Minister of Health, people called him to say that they are hypertensives, they are diabetic, some even HIV patients, that they were told not to carry their drugs. Those ones are not a problem at all. Of course, these are common chronic illnesses. Anybody can be hypertensive, anybody can be HIV positive after all.
So what's the arrangement for those who require to go along with medication?
Yes, for anybody that needs to go with special medication, all he requires is a prescription from his physician, signed and stamped. Signed and stamped.
And that passes through you too, right?
Yep, absolutely. Right. It's much
Okay.
easier if it passes through me. That makes it much easier for such an intended program. But I must also emphasize here that even as a government, as a commission, we make provision with the Federal Ministry of Health to get antiretroviral drugs for HIV patients. So anybody who is HIV positive has a right to go and perform Hajj. We carry large quantities of different combination of assorted ARVs from the HIV/AIDS division of the Federal Ministry of Health, which actually where I work. So we have large quantities of those drugs. And even for those who are suffering from tuberculosis, you can go for Hajj, you have your drugs, you can have your complete dose throughout Hajj. Right. And the only issue is for those who are diabetic hypertension, you need those prescription to be signed. In any case, the Hajj Commission is even making provision for such
care of that.
medications, to be provided for pilgrims to Saudi Arabia.
Okay, let's go back to the phones now. We have this call from Abuja here. Umar from Abuja, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Yeah, I want to talk about the toll leg you are talking about. Normally all our rich people, they don't go to Hajj early, but normally if they are coming back, they usually give some money to the airport staff or something. That's what has been happening for all cases in large 2-3 Hajjis that is happening. For them to come back early to their state to be in their offices. I want the director that I'm seeing now to say something about it.
The commissioner, right?
Yeah.
Fine. Right.
Thank you very much, Madam Woman. If you have an age intended pilgrims that want to travel back, once that person reports to the state pilgrim welfare board, they will bring them to the office. We are going to accelerate his going back because of his age. That peculiar, we can handle that. But unlike when you now say they have to spend money, I don't believe in that. If you are sure of what you are saying, please report the person that collect money from anybody and let us know. We don't collect money. Make sure the state pilgrim official bring that person to Hajj office. Then we write a note to the carrier to make sure, because of age person, it's an old person, he wants to come back. We accelerate his movement back to Nigeria.
And sick.
All right.
And the sick also.
Okay, Ustaz.
On the issue of collar, people have been using that avenue for business. They take a lot of collar to Saudi because actually the Arabs like our guru. They like. I was joking with His Excellency the Ambassador of Saudi Arabia, and I said this issue of guru. They said people will be killed. He said, no. It's just a law that the doctor said was there, but now we want to enforce it. He said, what is this guru? I said, I will bring you some. He said, no. Provided they said we shouldn't take it. I don't want to see it. On a more serious note.
Right.
Maybe we are jumping the gun, because no matter how perfect an arrangement is, once you have no visa to travel, then you cannot go. In the past, there were cases that some passports were not out and people could not travel. Now that it's smooth, I think we need to ask the chairman, Saudi-Nigerian relationship, the type of cooperation we are getting from the Saudi embassy in releasing our passport in good time with all the visas set and all the people are moving and the flights have no disappointment of people arriving at the airport at the right time for the takeoff. I think maybe the chairman needs to what type of relationship exists now between
just before the
yes.
honorable comes in.
No.
Okay, well, we were going to take a call because we had Moshood who was calling in, but all right, let's yes.
Okay. With regard to relationship between Nigerian Saudi Arabian Parliamentary Apprenticeship Committee, we have been working hand in hand with the embassy, particularly the ambassador of Saudi Arabia. The present ambassador is a reasonable somebody, a trustworthy somebody who loves his religion, who loves Nigeria and the Nigerians. And he has been assisting in all ways to make sure that we don't face any problem. For instance, visa, before you have to spend Umrah and Hajj visa. Sometimes Umrah visa costs almost 500,000 naira or $4,000. But now he makes things easy. For instance, from National Assembly, as a result of this relationship, we just talked to him and he gave us free visa, almost 300 visa free. And the tour operators can bear me witness that he make things easy. Before you have to spend the money before you could get visa. But with this, the present ambassador who is trying to promote the relationship between Nigeria and Saudi Arabia through all the ways that he could, he is now making things easy. Now all the visas, the moment, and Nakon will bear me witness, the moment they bring their passport, no matter how large, how plenty the passport are, they process it and give visa with nobody missing the visa. So here we have to commend particularly the ambassador, unlike before.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let's get back to Dr. Kana and the issue of you explained about the wristbands. Now the DNA test, which you talked about, because we didn't go right into that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, the issue of DNA is actually an innovation that we introduced this year. Basically, we are trying to set up a DNA bank for all intending pilgrims. We are starting in this year, and inshallah, we'll continue to perfect on it. The whole idea is that as one is departing to the kingdom, God forbid something happens like it did happen last year. If we had had the pilgrims depositing their DNA back home in Nigeria in the bank, all we need to do is to retrieve those samples and match them with the bodies that have been identified, but yet to confirm which body this is. So basically what we try to do this year is I engage a lot of experts, my colleagues who are experts in the field of DNA analysis. And we came to the conclusion that we need to undertake a less invasive mechanism.
Right.
That less invasive mechanism is not blood, but buccal smear. The buccal smear that we're taking now is very simple and straightforward. Using a swab stick, a sterile swab stick. Open your mouth, we'll stick it in, just take a swab, back in, keep it, we store it in the refrigerator, temperature minus 20 degrees. It can, the sample can, you can actually extract DNA out of that buccal swab in the next 2 to 3 years. So that's exactly what we're
You know, we raise this because you're a physician and you know that Nigerians, they tend to be skeptical when it comes to, you know, things like this.
Yeah.
And so how did you get the cooperation?
Oh, absolutely. I must say that the cooperation has been superb and tremendous. Of course, certainly not 100% of pilgrims actually consented. And we also developed forms, what we call an informed consent form, for any pilgrim to allow himself to offer himself for the buccal smear to be taken. First of all, we tell the pilgrim exactly what it is meant for,
right,
and then he will sign the form. And in the form, we clearly stated that the buccal smear sample we're taking is going to be used exclusively for this purpose.
Right.
And after Hajj, if everybody comes back safely, certainly we're going to destroy all the samples. So I'm particularly happy that a lot of pilgrims actually offer themselves. In fact, I must give commendation to Borno and Kebbi State. But the pilgrims, they did it in batches, even Gombe State, in batches with the doctors there. And haven't gotten all the samples. The state pilgrims welfare agencies, these 2-3 states, actually bought refrigerators, freezers, to store them instead of even taking them to blood banks. The cooperation has been enormous. But of course, the reason is because
this will be destroyed.
Oh, they'll be destroyed. Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Back to the phones now. We have Sadiq calling in from Ibadan. Hello, Sadiq.
Hello. Hello. Good evening.
Yes, good evening. And turn down the volume of your TV. I can hear the echo all the way.
All right.
Go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, go ahead now.
Hello, I can't hear you.
You say what you've got.
Hello.
Is it a question or a comment? We can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, I suppose Sadiq is having challenges there with turning down the volume so we can avoid that hurlback, that echo that we've been hearing. Now, you have just a single team this year.
Yeah, that's correct.
What led to that decision?
Well, first of all, previously Nigeria used to operate 36 plus 2 medical teams, each state of the federation plus the FCT 37 and the federal medical team. Year in, year out, the Saudis actually complain about Nigeria. you know, that today they see this medical team, tomorrow another medical team. Nigeria, 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 Kulu Nigeria. That's what they tell you. That's what they tell us. Kulu Nigeria, Kulu Nigeria. You know, they see Pakistan one, they see India one, Bangladesh one. These are huge countries also. But Nigeria, Kulu Nigeria. That's what they tell us. And it's kind of funny and shameful on us, you know. And they also frown at the fact that some states also operate quote unquote illegal clinics. So the Hajj Commission, in its wisdom, decided to engage the Saudis and promise the Saudis that this year we will actually try to amend that. Therefore, this year we have formed what is called the National Medical Team, one single medical team.
And you're not losing anything.
Right. In fact, it's a win-win situation as far as I'm concerned.
Makes you wonder why you had those multiple teams.
Yes, waste of resources. But now, even the economic situation in Nigeria has actually forced us, because now it's a contributory kind of system now. The states are contributing. Each state of the federation is contributing human resource, you know, into the national medical team, and the federal government is also contributing. So more or less, of course, we know as a federal government, it is our responsibility to cater for all Nigerians outside of this country. But in this case, we decided to do what we call co-financing, both the state and the federal. We're all putting everything into one basket, and we give them training, and we've all deployed them to Saudi Arabia. So we're operating a single national medical team, which is, I think, is a very good thing for us as a country.
All right, let's go over to Maiduguri, where Mohammed is calling in from. Hello, Mohammed, from Maiduguri.
Hello?
Hello, go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's everything?
Yes, just go ahead, Mohammed.
I want to contribute my quota to the...
Oh dear, see? That's why we always encourage those calling in to go straight to the point. The question of asking how we are is not necessary. Just go straight. You have a question or a comment. You know, the phone lines can be erratic sometimes, and we just lost that call. But we'd like to encourage you to call back. I'm sure you do have something important that you would like to put across as part of this program. Okay, another call coming through. We have Abdullahi from Kafanchan. Hello, Abdullahi.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Actually, I'm most overwhelmed with the respective gentlemen sitting on the screen, and I'm very happy with all the level of preparations towards this Hajj. And I'm as well praying to Almighty Allah to give a successful Hajj operation from this year until only God knows. Thank you all. May all the Almighty Allah help you respectively. A good night as well.
Right, thank you very much. Okay. Alhaji Bankole is with us in our Lagos studio. Surely, over the past operations, you must have noticed a few things. What would you say are the impediments to the smooth operations that we're all hoping for this year? In other words, what are the challenges that you faced in preparing for this year's exercise?
Yeah, thank you very much, Siri. The best area we could look at the early preparation have been one of the major factors that we need to look up to again for future. As soon as we complete the Hajj exercise, we begin to take into consideration looking at other factors, the 2017 Hajj operation in earnest. We need to work on our airport. Some of the airport we have on ground, there are a lot of things we need to do to improve on them and to increase their category in terms of the international safety standard. The airport requirements must be up to category 8 or 9, and you know most of the airport we don't use them until when the Hajj comes. So we need to work ahead of time to make those airports serviceable facilities wise and every other thing. That will be one of those challenges, because some of us, as we also know, that we equally need to add value to what the states have put in place, and the airport and the Hajj camp that need to do a lot of works, and the BTA. some of the experience we encounter in some states is that knowing fully well the Hajj is just next door, BTA shouldn't be an issue, because that equally will affect the departure time of aircraft, which we already have an approved slot time we need to get into the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So, but all the same, we keep moving ahead by seeing that everything needs to be mentioned so that other agencies of government need to support the successful airlift exercise. Year in, year out, we are improving. And I want to say openly here that 2016, as we have commenced, is looking very, very successful.
All right. Okay, well, thank you. And yes, sister.
Maybe Alaji Bankole will say one or two things about the issue of luggage, because
yes, we certainly will come to
and
that.
also the Zamzam.
Yes, we certainly will come to that, the issue of luggage, and that will form part of what we'll be talking about after this brief time out, because we'll take a short break now. Stay with us on NTA Tuesday Live. We will be back with more on the 2016 Hajj operation.
Nigerians, our fearless officers and men of the Nigerian military are winning the war against Boko Haram. Today, all occupied territories have been recovered and Boko Haram has been degraded. Our affected brothers and sisters are getting their lives back. However, they are now after you and me. In our mosques, churches, schools, motor parks, markets, entertainment centers, and public gatherings. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Make you report any crooked person, object or wakajube movement to police and security agent demo.
The security of our nation now work for all of us, plus including me and you.
Nigeria, make we unite against terrorism. Now, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture bring on this message.
NTA Tuesday Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
Thanks for staying with us. We've been looking at the operations of this year's Hajj. So far, so good, I guess, say. But let's return to our Lagos studio and ask Alhaji Munir Bankole to give us an insight into how this time around intend to handle the issue of pilgrims' luggage. Now, we do know that in the past, operations had been fraught with all kinds of challenges, luggage taken somewhere else, people complaining about losses. How are you addressing that this year?
Thank you very much. The arrangement that have been put in place, pilgrims are entitled to 32 kilograms as their normal baggage allowance and a minimum of about 8 kilograms for their hand luggage. And most of the airlines have designed a means of going to the residence of the pilgrim to provide them a baggage weighing, tag, where you will present that at the point of checking in your luggage with a lot of identification, with the symbol attached to that pilgrim baggage. That will identify the name, the passport number, and the pilgrim's destination where the baggage is going. The airline over the years have done wonderfully well to ensure that pilgrims' baggage in excess capacity sometimes bring the baggage ahead of the pilgrims. That can be a word of encouragement to ensure that you don't even carry a pilgrim if you don't carry their baggage, because the baggage itself has excess value where the pilgrim on arrival, the family want to receive something from the Holy Land. So we ensure that we make sure that baggages are being handled carefully. And again, another area of interest is that we have a weighing centers where baggages are being screened, and the same baggages are being locked up in a truck. They don't even see the baggage anymore once you take it from their residence. There is no pilgrim will tell you they see the baggage, and the baggage are labeled flight by flight, flight 1, flight 2, up to the number of flight we operate. So these baggages are taken care of through the handling agent to the airport and get them to the aircraft. So that has changed over the years, where you have pilgrim arriving 6 weeks, going back to airport, coming to look for baggages. I think that has been an history that no one can even tell us here with emphasis that it's still happening. That's, we give credit to the airline and the management of Hajj Commission.
Okay. Back to the lines now. Yeah, okay, well, let's go back to the arrangements back there in the Holy Land to deal with the movement of pilgrims between Mecca and the holy sites, the transportation, all that. What's in place there?
Thank you, Mr. Stree. You see, we have a transportation system called Trajadiyya. That's the movement of buses from Mecca to Muna and Arafat. This route is dedicated to all intending pilgrims alone. It's like a BRT, like a road that is dedicated to pilgrims that are going from Muna and Arafat. And last year we had a meeting with United Agent, and they promised that road buses will not be used again, because we normally have challenges where buses will break down on the way. So we had a meeting with them, and they promised that this year Hajj, they are not going to use any buses below 2008 model. So which means they've improved on their services. So that services, once our pilgrims are well arranged, it takes them within 15 minutes to Muna. It's a dedicated route for those that are going to Muna. And that has been done because this is part of the visa conditions. No pilgrims will get a visa if that money has not been paid. So this arrangement has been done by National Health Commission. As per what Alhaji Munir said, we as a regulator will make sure that if any carrier did not bring any of their cargo, we sanction them. And we make sure we sanction them and they pay for this cargo.
Okay, we'll return to the issue of the cargo, but let's take this call from Ahijo, who's calling in from Abuja. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Ahid Abdullah. I'm calling from Abuja. My contribution is I want to ask the officials to please, the issue of this collar is very important, because I have so many people that are going now who are not yet to fly, but they are preparing to carry their collar because they said the collar is costly there, so they are buying it, packaging it, to go with it. So please, they should sensitize them very well and check very well. Because even today there is information received from Saudi that one woman is nabbed and she's fined 10,000 riyals. So please, that's my advice. The officials that they should seriously check before they left Nigeria here. Because I know some, they are already preparing to go with it. Because they say it's very costly in Saudi Arabia. So this is my advice. Please, they should be careful so that at least they will not go there and begin to embarrass Nigeria on the issue that is.
All right, thank you very much, Ahijo. Yes, yes, your reaction to that.
On our own part, we make sure we collaborate with the carrier to screen all intended bringings to make sure they don't travel with kola nut. But you know, Nigeria are very clever. But we try as much as possible to make sure that nobody travel with kola nut.
but also importantly, actually, you see, in last 1 week since the commencement of the airlift, in fact, all our security agencies in the airport have actually intensified activities. NDLEA, customs, you know, yes. Now, including the police and even some plain-clothed uniform security operatives, they are watching and searching, thorough searching of pilgrims. In fact, if you go to the airport, you see some pilgrims actually becoming embarrassed because of the level of intensity of search that they're subjected to. But we are causing this for ourselves. Like you said, some are already planning to conceal and the go inside the baggage. I honestly don't see any reason why somebody should just attempt to embarrass himself, at the same time embarrassing our country when we're trying to rebuild the country at this point in time.
But perhaps we'll seek Ustaz's intervention here. Yes, some, even in the face of all this enlightenment, some people are still planning to breach the conditions for which they are going to perform a spiritual exercise. Can you intervene here?
You know, Nigerians, we are very clever. And once you have a monetary aspect at the end of the tunnel, people are willing to take all the risks to make sure that they benefit from illegality. Goro, as far as we are concerned in Nigeria, it's a normal thing. I don't eat it, but many people do. So no scholar will start any discussion on Goro. Because we don't see any basis for that. Yes, but we're an independent country.
Yes.
Sets its own laws. We have to abide. Because that's not our jurisdiction. They say we don't want Goro, we have to respect Saudi Arabia and its laws and avoid taking Goro to Saudi Arabia.
You see, I raised this because I'm thinking, what are the relationship between, recognizing constituted authority in carrying out spiritual obligations. Somewhere along the line, these two will meet. If there is a regulation of a process by which you wish to perform a spiritual obligation, is there a conflict?
Yes. I will not go into the juristics of that. Doctor is there to correct me if I'm wrong. But Saudi Arabia as an independent country says no to Kola.
Right.
You want to perform Hajj, avoid Kola, respect Saudi Arabia and its laws. Simple. But where carrying Goro will have any implication on my Hajj, that is what I don't want to discuss.
All right. Because, for those who plan to carry, if they do and they are caught, it certainly will have an impact.
No, they will do the Arafah in prison.
All right. So that will impact on their Hajj. Right?
No, then there is no Hajj.
There's no Hajj. All right. Yes. Okay, let's take this call from Momo, who's calling in from Kaduna. Hello, Mama.
My question is this.
Right.
Like those people who is eating a cola nut, like not in quantity, just they have. So how do they do about that? Then secondly, the last year Hajj. So what federal government has done about those laws that they could not find them up to date?
This what? Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Copses.
So the issue of kola nut still playing up again. Question there you heard.
What is the first question?
Well, was
The
that
kola nut.
for those who
cannot afford to eat, not to eat kola
well,
nut.
yes, who can, yes,
But-
just, you know, maybe one or two nuts which they want to eat.
I think it's a very, very simple matter.
Right.
Cola is found in Saudi Arabia.
What we can say here, if since kola nut is not a food,
it's not food,
and as said by a sheikh, he cannot pass the jurisdiction, but based on the teaching of Islam, anything that is harmful to your health, and it is confirmed by the physicians that kola nut is harmful. So Islam does not encourage anybody, don't encourage somebody to throw himself into what will harm him. Since kola nut do harm our health, we can also use this opportunity to stop eating kola nut, since you will be denied carrying kola nut. So use the opportunity and stop eating kola nut. When you stop eating it for a period of Hajj days, and you can continue. And
my people in Yobe will find it very easy to stop, but your people in Sokoto and Zamfara, it's going to be very difficult.
I know, but we can't do otherwise.
The advice we give to that person is to leave Guru for now. When he comes back after that, he can go back to his Guru.
All right. So now beyond the kola nut, the second question was yes, was much more serious than this.
Very
and,
serious.
What's happening about?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. The copses. That's a good question, really. You know, but perhaps if he has been following, events since the completion of last Hajj, we stayed back after last Hajj operation to ensure that we identify as much as possible all the missing pilgrims from Nigeria. And what we did, and I recall vividly, is to go back to the mortuary. All the bodies that are considered unknown in the mortuaries, I personally, with my colleagues, opened one after the other, each of the corpses, to try to see if there will be any form of identification. At the end of the day, of course, there were some that were yet to be identified, so they were considered missing. What we did was, when we came back to Nigeria, as a commission, we now decided the best thing for us to do is to look at the families of those missing pilgrims. And then we went around the country and took their blood samples from their immediate relations. And of course, with their informed consent, immediate relations here, father, mother, son, or daughter, and having taken the samples, we took them to Saudi Arabia ourselves, to the DNA laboratory. I must say that all the bodies, all the corpses, that the victims of the last stampede, samples were taken and stored. So they also created a DNA bank for all the corpses. Therefore, those that were missing from Nigeria, we took samples from their relations. And I think about 34 or so were missing. And we took blood samples from each and every one of them. Although by the time we returned, some states now came back and said, no, this person that we thought was missing wasn't actually missing. That's good news. But the ones that had the bad news, we went back to Saudi Arabia, ran these blood samples with the DNA bank in Mecca, and were able to identify all but 5. And I can assure you that even that 5, inshallah, by the time we go back to Saudi this time around, we'll go back to the DNA lab again and follow one after the other. I am almost certain it's the issue of name, because they wrote names in Arabic, so sometimes like Ibrahim, writing Ibrahim in English could be different from Ibrahim in Arabic, or Muhammad, or Murtala, or Adebayo, for example, now, it's not a name that is common to the Saudis.
Yes.
So if they're writing Adebayo, the way
sometimes
they write...
with A, sometimes with Alif, sometimes with Ain.
Exactly. So by the time we go back, we'll still go back to the DNA lab again and begin to follow meticulously one after the other. We are promising Nigerians that even the last 5, as much as we can, we'll try to find their identity.
All right, we'll return to some other aspect of that. But let's take this call from Maiduguri. Idris is calling in from Maiduguri. Hello, Idris. Oh, well, we've lost that. And one other question that was raised pertaining to that is, what form of compensation would anyone recommend for families who suffer losses like this?
Compensation now on the part of Nigerian government or on the part of Saudi?
Given the circumstances that led to
well, personally,
those days.
Again, I also recall His Highness the Emir of Kano actually raised the issue. One, issue of investigation, and then two, the issue of compensation. But to be fair to the Saudi government, I'm not holding forth for Saudi government here, but during the crane crash that happened in the Grand Mosque in Mecca, we lost some pilgrims, and the custodian of the two holy mosques, that's the King of Saudi Arabia, offered to pay compensation to the pilgrims that lost their lives, and also a certain amount for pilgrims that actually sustained injuries. That is ongoing. You know, inshallah, by the time we go back to Saudi Arabia during Hajj, we'll be able to get confirmation as to the status. But on the issue of victims of stampede, of course, just like Nigeria and many other countries also raised concerns. You know, the Saudis are still looking into the matter, but they have not come out to say they are giving compensation to anybody.
Did any of this feature in your engagement with officials of Saudi Arabia in this? I mean, on the basis of your committee?
Cyril, you know, anybody with background knowledge of Islam, he knows that there are situations where somebody will pay compensation, and there are other situations that you are not responsible for compensation. Like crane crash in the mosque, that was caused by the constructor, because they are the one who brought the crane in the mosque. And anything that crane caused, if it caused the loss of any lives or any damage to anybody, the person owning that crane must be responsible for the compensation. But it is known to all the ulamas that if nobody caused the death of anybody or wound or injury, you will not be responsible for this stampede is not caused by something done by Saudi government or Saudi people. That's why Islamically, they are not expected to pay compensation, because it is pilgrims among themselves cause the death. But if you cause death by mistakenly you cause death of somebody by mistake, but you are the causer, maybe you drive motor, you hit him, or you put something, mistakenly you kill somebody, you are going to pay compensation. But if it is not your own due, you are not the causer of the death of anybody, you are not responsible for so it is known in Islamically. So that's why I think anybody with Islamic knowledge should not expect Saudi government to pay for the compensation of the stampede. But the plane crash is clear, because they are the one who brought the crane in the
Okay, let's quickly take this call from Vernon Kebi, Usman, who's calling in, and then we'll return to you. Hello, Usman. Well, we lost that. Okay.
I just want to add to what the Honorable said, that our stand as Nigeria, we said they should make the investigation all countries, and they should make the information known to the whole world. Because at now, the Saudi has not come up with the cause of the death. So based on that, we're not able to say whether there will be compensation or not. The investigation is still ongoing.
But also, additionally, I agree with Alhaji Adebayo that the actual cause of the stampede is not known. To go further, the Saudis also, amongst the bodies, the victims of the stampede, autopsies were conducted, really. And that, I'm sure, they're all putting that together, because the autopsies will actually tell us the primary cause of death, you know, and whether smoke or whatever, all the rumors that people are actually spreading around. You know, so those are things that I'm sure they're putting together. But like you said, Nigerian government is also pushing for investigation. Let us know the actual cause. Nobody knows the actual cause at the moment.
Okay, we'll leave that for a while, and let's come to, okay, let's see if we can take this call from Kwara. Yinka calling in from Kwara. Hello, Yinka, go ahead.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, go ahead.
Hello, good evening.
Go on, can hear
Hello, good evening.
Yinka, just
Hello.
go ahead. We can hear you, go on.
Good evening.
Good evening, go on.
Good evening, sir.
Right.
Yes, please, I want to contribute on the issue of baggage and luggages of that Alhaji Moir have just discussed. Okay, I want to contribute on the issue of bag and baggages that Alhaji Munir has just discussed.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, go on.
Yes.
We're listening.
Okay. And I have a sister that traveled last year. I have a sister that traveled last year from Kwara State by name Ajala Fatima Ronke. And our luggage is yet to be recovered since that very time now. So I don't know what National Arch Commission and the representative of the Air League is doing so as to avoid such.
Okay. All right. That's good enough. You have someone who lost luggage and from the last exercise and it's still not been found. Right. We'll ask the NACON commissioner and then we'll ask Alhaji Munir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Inka. For your sister that traveled last year that lost her bag, we expected her to have complained to the State Pilgrim Board, where we now complain to national commissions. Then we'll now be able to take it up with the carriers. But because she has not complained, we didn't know whether she's missing her luggage. Now that you have complained, when I get back to the office, inshallah, I will discuss with the carrier and find out your sister's luggage.
All right, so we can put the same question to Alhaji Munir Bankole in our Lagos studio. You heard the man. It's back to the issue of lost luggage.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Yinka. Like Alhaji Adebayo rightly said, the first contact for a pilgrim is the State Pilgrim Welfare Board. And as soon as you return from the exercise and you did not receive your baggage, your responsibility at the point of that moment is to tell the State Pilgrim Welfare Board officials who are responsible for the entire exercise as far as the state pilgrims are concerned. And in return, they write accordingly to the National Arch Commission, who will forward such letter to the carrier that operated from that particular zone. And it is the responsibility of the airline, that's the carrier, to ensure that they trace the baggage at the point of acceptance to the final destination. And where they cannot get any clue or any specific answer to those missing baggage, the airline is compelled to pay compensation as per IATA international standard requirement. So these are the area I will advise Mr. Yinka to follow, and so that your sister will get adequate compensation. It is a right of the woman, and it is a responsibility of carrier to ensure that they deliver the baggage of every pilgrim.
All right, thank you. And let's go back to the phones. We have Benjamin calling in from Kaduna. Hello, Benjamin. Hello. Well, obviously Benjamin called in and it's not saying anything. Ustaz, what are two issues we might raise with you is, what about expectant mothers performing the Hajj? Are they allowed this time around?
I heard Imam Fuad Adeyemi on NTA speaking about some women discovered on the point of boarding the aircraft and they were dropped, so they cannot go. I suppose that answers the question.
Well, it does.
Actually,
but it then goes back to the enlightenment.
Actually, the doctor is speaking. So
yes, just before Dr. Kada comes in, it goes back to the issue of enlightenment. Obviously, it would have been said at one point or the other that they were either allowed or not allowed to perform. So what do you think was responsible for some? They have adequate knowledge whether they would be allowed to go on or not?
Maybe somebody somewhere has not done their job, because the commission is clear about that. no pregnant or no pregnant women are to be allowed in the exercise. So where she is now at the point of boarding the aircraft, you know, we have all these alhajis in the, you know, they are born in Saudi Arabia. During Hajj, the mother will deliver. Doctor has a lot of examples. So that is what they are trying to avoid. And our people, you know, Hajj being what it is, and giving birth to in Saudi Arabia, people have certain beliefs and that is it, beliefs on the issue. So they really want, maybe this should be delivered there.
These beliefs, do they have any basis? Are there any basis for these beliefs?
Well,
Islamically?
it's holy land, and you know, people associate a lot of things with it.
Well,
okay, you will not be drawn into that.
Yeah, actually, I can come in here, really. The era of women even wanting to go and deliver there actually has come and gone. Right. Where people do that with impunity. Yeah. The National Hajj Commission has instituted stiff penalties. One, on the pilgrim himself, and secondly, to the state. If it's a tour operator, the tour operator will be sanctioned. What we're having now are not the ones with advanced pregnancies, but the ones with early pregnancies. Quite frankly, to be fair with some of them, is the stage of pregnancy that don't even know they're pregnant. But you see, we as a commission also, we take that very seriously, because the pregnancy can be aborted, you know, inadvertently in the process.
The operators here cannot be accused of complicity in this. Because they face sanctions.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Most state officials and the...
So now we have ultrasound machines even at the airport, at the last point of departure.
Okay.
In most of our departure centers, yes. We have doctors who are stationed there that will conduct ultrasound scan on intending pilgrims. You know, and in some airports, in some just normal urine tests that we conduct. But again, it's part of the routine medical checks before Hajj. That is the responsibility of every female pilgrim that is within the reproductive age to get yourself screened for pregnancy. If you are pregnant, suspend Hajj until next year. It is not compulsory. Simple.
Okay. From Mushi, we have Mohammed, I believe. Yes. Mushi.
Okay. Hello, Mohammed from Mushi, Lagos, sir.
Yes, go on.
Yes. Salam alaikum. Okay. Michael, please, I want to find. Hello?
Go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go on.
Okay, please, I want to find out about the cola food blend. What is it? What about the cola? Bitter cola. Is it forbidden?
Cola is cola.
Bitter cola. Is it forbidden to be carried?
Or as you call it, Orobo. Okay.
Orobo, yes, Orobo.
Cola is cola.
All right, you'll get your answer straightforward.
Mr. Yinka, don't take cola to Saudi Arabia. Avoid taking cola, either bitter cola or cola, please. Avoid it for now. Don't take it to Saudi Arabia. Since they say it's bad, please don't go with it. We advise you.
Namijongoro.
Or Namijongoro or Urugu, please don't take it to Saudi Arabia. When you come back, you can start taking your cola.
All right, that's it. Okay. Dr. Kada will return to you and will recall the alert, the issue of high temperatures.
Yeah, that's correct.
How are we dealing with that?
Well, this is one area that even the Saudis actually alerted us that we should be able to educate our pilgrims, because this year temperatures actually peaks at between 43, 44, and maybe up to 45, 46, but on average 43, 44. And in the night, usually it's going to be between 25 to 30 degrees. They drew our attention because high temperatures have effect on the human body. And a lot of times pilgrims actually engage in movement from one point to the other under the sun. So we from the outset, we now instituted a massive campaign, awareness creation on pilgrims, to the fact that temperatures are going to be very high. And as part of travel advice, the kind of clothing they should carry, not to carry baliga and clothing that is going to attract even more heat on them. They should carry light clothing. And secondly, we have also enlightened, I'm using this opportunity also to enlighten intending pilgrims that there are water points along the paths where pilgrims actually move from one point to the other, either from their residence to the places of worship. The Saudis have made extra effort to position cold water points. I want to encourage pilgrims, no matter how strong you think you are, you can develop heat stroke. Stop at every point in time, drink water, sprinkle some on your head. I also want to say that during Salat, particularly in Mecca, where people sit under the sun, the Saudis have also mobilized a lot of security men with water, in bottles, and they sprinkle on people. One should not be ashamed. One should not be ashamed. Present your head so that they can sprinkle water on your head to actually cool down your temperature. Because if you allow yourself temperatures to your body to expose your body to extreme of temperature, you can develop what we call the heat stroke, which actually has a potentially lethal possibility.
All right. Yeah. We have Bashir calling in from Abuja. Hello, Bashir.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, Bashir, you left your volume too high. Go ahead, but the volume of your TV is too high. Go ahead.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, go ahead, Bashir.
Good evening.
Yes, go ahead. Your name is on screen.
Can
go
you hear
on.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my contribution is that on uniform, okay, it's on Nigerian pilgrimage uniform. Some states actually I was disgraced when I see their. Please let NAHAPO regulate that sector. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Some of the uniform I see is like, what I'm saying is that actually the uniform, some look like a prisoner. Look at countries like Turkey.
Okay, Bashir, I think we get the point.
Yeah.
You're not pleased with the uniforms of some of the pilgrims, and you want NACO
But seriously,
Yes.
I think for his information,
Yes.
Nigeria is one of the countries that even the Saudis appreciate the fact that we wear uniforms.
All right.
Those uniforms, especially for us in medical aspect, if somebody collapses in the mosque, quite frankly, most of the time, that uniform is what is used. Even the Saudis. Even the Saudis, they know Nigerians are the ones that wear uniforms. They quickly grab any Nigerian around there. Which state is this? So we'll look and read. Kebbi State, Nasarawa State, Lagos State. So actually, while Bashir is complaining about the uniform, but I think he's talking more of the quality of the uniform.
So because
so I think that can be improved.
Is improved. I mean, what we use, and this issue of looking like prison wear. I mean, I think it's the country that he mentions with respect to that country.
We don't look like prisoners.
Yeah, because theirs is
Batik.
no, it's brownish.
Which state is that?
He said Turkey.
Turkey.
It's brownish all
brownish.
through.
Yes,
ours is colorful.
If I will be in Atampa,
yes,
what do you call it in Yoruba?
Ankara.
Or is it Ankara?
Yes, Ankara.
Ankara.
Yes.
So who is looking like a prisoner?
I think what Bashir wants us to do is that he wants us to regulate it, and we are going to do that very soon.
All right.
Try to license all the state people who ever bought.
So
and
that
by next year, inshallah, we'll be able to know the sample of cloth they are going to use.
All right.
Of good
Certainly,
quality.
it's not a fashion parade.
Of course.
Right.
It's
Okay.
a religious exercise.
But the concept is good.
Yeah.
Usman is calling in from Birnin Kebbi. Hello, Usman. Hello.
Yes, good evening, Ciro.
Yes, go ahead,
Good
please.
morning, sorry. My question maybe will go to the honorable there.
All right.
Is it right for a governor to use taxpayers' money to use government money to sponsor people on pilgrimage? And if it is not right, is the Honorable Data going to put it in his oversight function to checkmate all those excesses? Thank you very much.
Right.
Okay, thank you, my brother. When governor is in charge of all his people, and he must make sure that the comfort and welfare of his people, either here or outside the country. So for that, it is necessary for each and every governor to make sure that he sends some people to lead his people outside the country to make sure that they live in peace and fully guided spiritually and physically. So for that, it is necessary for governors to send some people, to sponsor people to guide the pilgrims from their states. But when you say the way that some governors are doing, it's not allowed. I am not a scholar, we have Sheikh here, but it's not allowed to take public money and do extravagancy, send unnecessary people, sponsor unnecessary people to go there and with government money. That way is not allowed. More especially the era we are in, the era of change, and our president, the way he's trying to transform us, to bring more discipline to people. So it's not allowed to be paying people that are not necessary for you to pay for them to go. But if you are sending people to go and guide the pilgrims, teach them, take care of them, that one is necessary. So one has to do that. So as you said, when we go for our oversight, we'll be oversighting the NACO, the state, the airlines, and all the caterers, the accommodation, all other things, all the stakeholders we are going to oversight and look to make sure that things go very well. And Nigerians are being provided with a standard accommodation, standard food, standard transportation, everything, to make sure that what they promise us is what they provide for us. If we find anybody defaulting, when we come back, we legislate for that and to make sure that we sanction anybody that defaults.
I want to congratulate the Honorable Doctor for the sagacity with which he answered the question, trying to put a line of demarcation between the officials that are assisting the pilgrims. But maybe the questioner is more on the issue of political sponsorship, using the Hajj as a means to reward loyalty, or to help people. Let us even say help people. Hajj in Islam is a pillar, as you have rightly said, textually proven in the Quran. Is not some exercise that you just create to get a share of the national cake. It's a part of the religion. Whether government is part of it or out of it, people will still go to Hajj. So you can't use the legislation in Islam said is for those who are able. So once you are not able, it's not for another person to sponsor you. It is not obligatory on you because you are not able to. It's for those who are able to undertake the journey. So do not take people's money that are meant for other things to reward political patronage.
Some of them do that.
Yes, that is all.
All right, so we begin to wind down now. I suppose we've looked at so many aspects of the 2016 Hajj exercise, which from the response we've had from our guest tonight has been on the positive side. However, it's all arrangements, things put in place. There still remains the basic thing, which of course is about Hajj, and which is why we have tried so hard to get Ustaz Siddiq to come in on that matter. The most important thing about all of this has to do with a spiritual obligation, and that is where we want to take this discussion as we begin to wind down.
It is a spiritual obligation, as I have said, for those who are able to do it. Once you are not able to do it, it's not obligatory on you. You must have the knowledge of what you would do. Ignorance is not accepted. Knowledge has to be there. That is why you have to attend the course for the Hajj before the time for the journey. And when you are there, you have to observe all that has been taught you before your travel. And most importantly, talking about spirituality, it is for all the pilgrims and officials to pray fervently for themselves, for their families, for Nigeria, and for President Buhari. May Allah guide him to what is best for the nation and its citizens. This is very, very important. Pray for your neighbors, whether they are Muslims or Christians. You are in the Holy Land, pray for them. You must have something to say to Allah about your neighbor who is not a Muslim, about your neighbor who is a Muslim, about your nation, about your superior, about your boss in the office, about the ministry you are working, about the country generally. May Allah guide us. May Allah take control and give us the best out of the change we have chosen.
All right. And so we will take this question to Alhaji Munir Bankole, which of course will serve as the final part of his contribution on this program. And that has to do with the penchant for buying just about everything that people have the penchant of buying everything they can afford or anything they can see, which they hope to bring back, creating problems for excess baggage, and we have seen that happening a lot of times. So from the carrier's point of view, how do you intend to checkmate this?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think one thing I want to advise our intending pilgrim is that some of these items that they look out for in Saudi Arabia, most of them are around in our own country. The good thing for them to realize that the little amount of money they are going with, which is pegged to 1,000 USD, which is equivalent to 3,750 Saudi Arabia, is probably be adequate for them to maintain themselves, to be able to eat at the same time with NACON assistance in providing meal at every location for them, which is being subsidized. They must first of all consider themselves having the opportunity of being in Holy Land to go fully committed to perform all the rites of the Hajj, fully. The issue of carrying baggage does not come as a priority to any intending pilgrim. First is to thank Allah for you to be able to fulfill one of your lifetime Islamic obligations. You are there to serve God, and for God to thank Him for what Almighty God has done in our life. Pray for yourself, your immediate family, like Gustav said, to your neighbor, whether Muslim or Christians, and come back, remember your state, your local government, even the country at large. Those are very important moments. And at the same time, I would not encourage you to go and buy all these 5 riyal, shara riyal that you think are very valuable. They are not. So I will encourage our people to consider their health, because a lot of people do not realize that, like what Dr. Kana said, don't move around, because the temperature in Saudi Arabia is just too high now, to 47 above, and it will run all through the Hajj period. So you need to think of that. Your health is very key, not to just use your little money moving around the market trying to buy something that are not valuable as against your health. So I believe on the carrier side, like I did mention before, 32 kilogram, and it has no exception. If you go more than that, you have to pay. And that we don't collect money from pilgrim baggage, we return the baggage out of the weighing scale. So I encourage them to go by the limit and make sure that they buy something of valuable only to their immediate family and neighbors and friends. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this Hajj a successful one. And thank you, and thank all my colleagues out there that this year have been a very, very, very sincerely committed souls that I can see. You can see the number of flights moving within the short 10 days we started this operation. That's a testimony of sincerity and commitment on on everybody's side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Munir Bankole, Chairman Medview Airlines, representative of the Hajj Air Carriers, joined us from our Lagos Center. Dr. Kana, your closing comments.
Yeah, my closing comment. One, before anybody begins to embark on Hajj, check with your physician, ensure you are in good physical and mental health. Engage in some form of physical activities, particularly exercise. For those like Alhaji Adebayo who does not do much exercise, you should begin to do some exercise before you go for Hajj. So
perhaps next time we'll ask you to come with the stethoscope.
And also to quickly remind intending pilgrims not to carry any contraband drugs as much as possible. If you have to carry any drug because you are suffering from any chronic illness, please let us know so that we can assist you, so that you don't embarrass yourself or embarrass our dear country, Nigeria. I wish everybody Hajj Mabrur.
Okay, and Commissioner Yusuf Adebayo Ibrahim of NACON.
Thank you. My own message to the Nigerian pilgrim is to go by the rule of the game, obey Saudi laws, don't carry cola nuts, don't carry bitter cola, obey their laws, and restrict your movement to your facility. That is your accommodations and the holy mosque. Don't move around as the carrier has advised you. And inshallah, in Arafat, we have big preparation for Sahara Desert Farm. The tent you are going to stay, there are going to be cooling system there. You see yourself to that within that period and pray for your country, pray for your neighbor, and pray for your leader. May Allah make your Hajj Mabrur.
Okay, and Honorable Abdullahi Balarabe Salami.
Mine is, as my brothers has just said, that each and every pilgrim should consider this as an act of ibadat. Let us be sincere. Let us go and perform our Hajj for the sake of Allah, to seek the acceptance of Almighty Allah, and to do all things according to the rules and regulations governing the spiritual activities there. And secondly and lastly, being from National Assembly, House of Representatives, this committee will be there and will be watching to see that, to make sure that all our pilgrims deserved were provided for them. If there is anything to see that we assist in overcoming if there is any challenge from any aspect of the pilgrimage. May Almighty Allah guide us, and may also urge our pilgrims to pray for our, particularly to Nigeria, and particularly to our President Muhammadu Buhari, for him to succeed and to achieve what he is planning for the country. May Almighty Allah guide all of us and make this year's Hajj easy one and a successful one.
All right, we thank you very much. And well, you're not leaving tomorrow like Dr. Kana, are you?
I'm leaving tomorrow.
Oh, well, you...
He's not leaving tomorrow.
No,
I'm leaving tomorrow.
But Ustaz...
I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm not leaving tomorrow.
Ustaz and Dr. Kana.
We will remain here. We are doing
we want to make sure every Nigerian goes...
Before you go.
Yeah, we go
all right, and you come back last.
Come back last as well.
Yeah,
Right.
possibly.
Oh, yes.
All right, thank you very much. And would like to thank Alhaji Munir Bankole in our Lagos studio. Thank you very much for being on this program. We thank you.
Thank you, and good night. We wish all of us a successful airlift, and may Allah guide our country and our leaders to give us the best as we expected. Thank you.
And thank you to Commissioner. Thanks for being here, Dr. Kana.
Thank you very much.
Well, Ustaz, well, I'll see you after the exercise.
Okay, sir.
So,
be there for you.
so we'll come back and review how it all went.
No problem.
And Honorable, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I will also say thank you to all those who took part in this program. We thank you for being with us. Next week we'll reach you again on NTA Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stober. Bye for now.